Hello, my name is Brenna Quinn.
And I'm Ismelton, and we chose to focus on Terraform One's Fab Tree Hub for the duration of this project. So Terraform One is composed of specialists who focus on sociological design, and they aim to advance things such as transportation, infrastructure, building, water, food, waste management, air quality, and energy. And with the Fab Tree Hab, they aim to replace the outdated designs from Habitat for Humanity with 100% living materials.
So what is research? So research is divided into three things, such as theory, problem, and method. They have also, in architecture, there's three stages, such as process, product, and performance. So Fab Tree Hab, their research on this project is mistaken as genetic modification, but Terraform is creating a whole new way of looking at ecological housing through their research.
A thesis should encompass the knowledge gained during analysis, synthesis, and evaluation in a captivating way. And so a good thesis will recognize the debate at question and position itself within the ongoing and open-ended problem that is the root of everything architectural. So through those three things, you also achieve goals and objectives as well as concepts.
With this diagram, this shows the three different things that go into Fab Tree Hab, such as 100% sustainability, living materiality, and innovating housing solutions, which all create an environmentally friendly and innovative construction.
So the first discourse that we looked at was the living materiality. And so Terraform One proposes to grow the tree structural through a method of pleaching with the aid of a prefabricated scaffolding. But with the primary structure being in its natural state, we wonder what parameters should be taken to ensure the longevity of it, as well as what measures will need to be taken when any damages occur. So the second discourse we looked at was the 100% sustainability. And so Terraform One says that it is widely acknowledged that life cycle costing methods will provide more favor to conscious home designs by including energy cost savings and more abstractly accounting for reduction of elimination of external costs. So Terraform One not only proposes to use sustainable materials, but they also want to enable a green and sustainable lifestyle within the Fab Tree Hab. The third and final discourse that we looked at was the innovative housing solutions. So the Fab Tree Hab was designed to allow residents to harvest directly from the structure itself as well as the surrounding areas. And this phenomenon was also intended to positively impact the surrounding wildlife, as they can also harvest from the scraps that do not consume. And so some questions that we pose is, what effect does the living materiality of the homes have on the human psyche? And how does vegetation affect the overall human experience at an individual and community level?
How vegetation affects human condition. It affects the human condition by making people more alert and happy, contributing to alleviating pain, reducing stress levels, and anger management method.
So the first method that we wanted to look at was the method of pleaching. So Terraform One utilizes this process of pleaching to achieve the primary woven tree structure that becomes the framework for the living wall system. In order to do this, they deploy a prefabricated scaffolding system in order to guide the trees during this process. And although they refined their process of pleaching through trial and error, they took initial precedent from Richard Reams and his red elder bench, as you can see above to the right, as well as Axel Erlanderson's basket tree, which is below to the right. So the second method we wanted to look at was the construction of the wall systems. So the highlighted elements in blue represent the primary elements that make up the living wall system. And an element that isn't called out in the diagram in this is the soil pockets on the exterior of the wall system, which can also be used to grow produce and other edible vegetation. So as Terraform One predicts, along with the pleaching process, that the Fab Tree Hab will take about 10 years to completely grow. And so we question how this process can be modified to expedite the construction time so people can occupy it sooner.
The evidence given from Terraform One was the three different types of trees, such as dogwood trees, elm trees, and live oak trees, which all produce different sizes and shapes of trees. The dogwood is the smallest tree, and then the live oak tree is the biggest tree. With all these trees, they have different structure parts. The scaffolding of the Fab Tree Hab is produced inside of the structure, allowing the vegetation to grow upon the scaffolding, which will be able to remove when the vegetation is strong enough to withhold the structure itself, and will be able to be put into a new Fab Tree home and be able to be reused. Through trial and error, Terraform One worked with pleaching in the multiple ways that it will be the strongest and the most durable through the grafting and the pleaching styles. Pleaching has been around for many years, but with the trial and error, they came up with a system that would work. Architectural wise, it would start with site program, production, and instruction, design, intention, and circulation, and that would also repeat. But in product design, you do monitor, learn, and plan, and that also repeats. So that is somewhat of a trial and error throughout the architectural and the product designs. So why Poletown East? Poletown East is a suburb outside of Detroit, Michigan. The area has a lot of vacant land, which allows room for future growth. By using Poletown East, we propose to use similar trees that are native to this area in Michigan that have the same shape and size. Also, we propose to use 3D printed scaffolding to allow the scaffolding to slowly disintegrate by the biomaterials that are used by the 3D printer.
So when looking at context at a broader scale, we see in the contested context reading how context is defined as a perception of place in the creation of playfulness. Sandy also mentions how modernists typically designed with a blank slate in mind, and therefore they would create these unresponsive and rationalized utopias, compared to the postmodernists who would pay more attention to existing urban fabrics and the integration of memorable spaces. So our thesis is Terraform One proposes to replace Habitat for Humanity with sustainable housing solutions by the method of pleaching. And we propose this method in Poletown, East Detroit, due to the abundance of vacant properties and the pre-existing urban farming conditions to allow the framework of a sustainable community. So in looking at the program of the Fab Tree Hub at a closer scale, the hypothesized program results in a sustainable solution for day-to-day housing. And so Terraform One is pushing the limits of sustainability in both materiality and functionality. So by growing the primary structure and wall systems, the majority of the makeup is completely renewable and actively living, while the remainder of the materials still come from natural sources, but usually require a little bit of processing. But then when looking at the Fab Tree Hub at a little bit more of a broad scale, the design is aimed to enable a sustainable lifestyle at a community scale through rainwater harvesting and agriculture. And so by creating these communities of these structures, neighbors can work together to share those resources while therefore creating a completely sustainable community. So then looking at the psychology of the Fab Tree Hub, we wanted to see what the materiality would play into the human psyche. And so the use of the living materials within a home dwelling has multiple benefits, not only from the environment, but also to the individual's health. So introducing greenery into a home setting, the immune system, mental health, and productivity can be boosted in addition to reduction in stress. And that doesn't even touch on the reduction of noise pollution and also air pollution in the environment. So then looking at the final context of materiality and specifically pleaching, Terraform One and the Fab Tree Hub use the methods of like Richard Reams and Axel Erlanderson to advance the process into a more sustainable housing solution. So in the image above, you see Axel Erlanderson's red elder chair, and highlighted are the different members that kind of create the structure. And similarly below, you can see how the different tree members for the Fab Tree Hub grow into one cohesive structure. So this is a little preview of what Poletown East can look like by the year 2029, as the structures typically take about 10 years to grow.
So here's a little more information on Poletown East. Poletown East in the last decade had an increase in crime, and also when the recession hit, that was a major factor of people leaving out of this area. This caused more abandoned buildings and more vacant lots to be overgrown with vegetation. And these 4 diagrams, they show East Poletown in 4 different situations. On the bottom left is maintained lots. Maintained lots are the majority of parks and also industrial lots that have to be maintained on a weekly basis. Abandoned buildings and abandoned lots, as you can see, combined take up the most of the land of East Poletown. There are not very many people that are actually living in this area. Due to that, there are a lot of land for people to use for farming. There are multiple family-owned farms and also a few commercial farms. These are 3 urban farms that are nearby the site. Recovery Park is in the center of Poletown East, and they help out ex-felons get a job. By using urban farms, they help from start to finish by planting the seed and letting it grow until it is able to go out to the site of the Fab Tree Hab to start the actual growth onto the scaffolding. Also, with these sites, they have excess soil and also water retention basin to help water the plants and maintain the growth of the Fab Tree Hab. Also, if we are using these sites, the knowledge of the people that are working at these farms can help with the relocation, the planting, and the maintenance of the homes. Due to having industrial factories and highly populated highways and roads, there is a lot of noise pollution and also air pollution in this area. With having Fab Tree Hab, the vegetation will help reduce the pollution and by absorbing the noise and releasing fresh O2 from the trees. This will help the pollution in the area and the surrounding areas to be a better and more clean city.
And thank you for watching our presentation.
Thank you.